just needed to stick and make it hard. That's all.
I'm not pumping the agents all the time.
Maybe the best invention in the history of mankind was gel. It's beautiful.
Here he is, one half of the team, Donnie and Dhali, weekdays 10 to 12 on Czech television, although they're taking today off.
Off day Dhali.
Yeah, off day Dhali. So much so that he got a late twilight round in at Northlands yesterday.
Wow.
And he joins us on the line. How we doing, fella?
I got a bum shoulder and 18 holes in Northland. Up and down will do some more damage to it, but it was great. We got in 18 last night.
Who's we? Who's we? Because I was available. Phone did not ring.
Jeff Patterson.
Oh.
Ian McCletchy, myself, and that slug Andrew Wadden. The four of us.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Jeff won?
I was not responsible for the invites, handing them out. I just got one, and I said yes.
Okay. All right.
Attaboy.
That's fine.
Attaboy, Ricky.
Yeah. And so I wasn't responsible for the invites. I got one, and I said yes because I love that course, and I love 18. I just think when you're up there on 18 at the tee, and you look. And the flag looks 500 miles away. It's just unbelievable.
You know you're 8 shots away from being done.
You know you're
That's
8.
right.
Yeah.
And your first 2 have to be perfect. It's just it's nightmares. That hole is nightmares.
Ricky, if I told you how many times I got to that tee box with a chance to shoot, a number that I wanted, set a career best, beat Blake Price, and have choked it away. Too many to count. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you say
it's
2 good shots.
beautifully.
It needs 3 perfect shots, effectively.
Just to get there. Just 3 to get
there.
Yeah. And it's perfectly situated. It's just going right into the clubhouse. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful 18.
Yeah,
beautiful.
and then you got to putt the 3-tiered green.
And you're so pissed. You're so pissed at 18. You can't wait to get to 19.
That's it. Last week, I had to put up 2 tiers through the fridge on the green. Not an easy one. Okay, let's get going here. And look, I know you haven't heard it yet, the Bob McCown podcast with our buddy Joe Shannon, a regular on our show, a regular on your show as well. But they had Bruce Boudreau on today. And, the one bit of news is that Scott Walker, the trusted lieutenant, right, the one assistant coach that came over with Bruce Boudreau, will no longer be on the Canucks bench. Shannon tells me it's Scott Walker's choice, not necessarily for health reasons, but you tell me, what is the assistant coaching staff looking like as we sit here going into the long run?
Well, when the general manager and the president come out and say, and this has got nothing to do with Scott Walker, I'm just talking in generalities. When the president comes out and says we got structure problems, we got to come out of our own, the zone exits, all that. That's basically telling you right there that, you know what, you're not coming back with the exact same coaching staff. If you're telling me, Matthew, that Scott Walker is not coming back, because we have to remember that he was hired, but he missed a lot of time behind the bench after getting hit in the head with a puck. I think it was vertigo. So he was kind of in and out there for a while. He's very well respected, Scott Walker. I remember him as a player, tough, hard-nosed, never backed down from anyone. He's just very, very well respected in all hockey circles. In fact, December 5th was when Travis Green was fired. But it was about November 26th. The Canucks were in Columbus when I heard first Scott Walker's name. And somebody had said to me, keep an eye on Walker. And, this is a guy they really like. And, of course, he's been with the organization before. So if he's not coming back, there's a void right there. But I just go back to Rutherford and the structure and the zone exit. You just knew at some point that you just can't come back with the entire same coaching staff. They want improvement. They've been working hard. They've told Boudreau he's got to be better. He's got to be more linked in with analytics, which Bruce is 100% on board with. And you know what? It's going to be a revamped coaching staff for next year. And this does not surprise me.
Yeah. Do you think management then is going to basically hire all the assistants? Is Bruce going to be delivered a staff?
No,
or is he
No. You got to have Bruce didn't indicate to any of us that he wasn't happy with any of his coaching staff. And at the end of the day, a coach has got to have the feel for his team with his assistants. I mean, when's the last time a management team picked the entire assistants for a coach? It doesn't happen. When Travis Green came here, he picked his guys. Willie D picked his guys. I mean, I've never heard of a team picking all the assistants for the coach. That's just unheard of. The coach has got to be comfortable with the guys. He's got to, just like management, they bring in all their guys from Pittsburgh. They trust them. Well, the same thing with Boudreau. He's got to have a coaching staff that he trusts, he finds knowledgeable. It's got to be his guys. And sometimes they are helped by management. But in this case, if I'm Bruce, I need guys, I need lieutenants, I need assistants that I trust that are going to be with me every single day of the year and on the same page as me.
It'll happen. It'll be his choice for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. I've never heard of a team management picking all these assistants. It's got to be Bruce saying, "Hey, these are the guys I like," and maybe he has to justify it, or maybe management says, "Hey, here's one guy we like," and then they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Bruce seems like a pretty amenable guy to change as a whole. He's had a lot of jobs in a lot of positions. He's had a lot of different assistant coaches, of course, over the years as well. The curious part will be, how he adjusts to the suggestions of change this, change that to the coaching strategy. And it may seem, very apparent to him once they make the personnel changes. To me, it's hard for them to have these meetings on approach to next season when you don't know the roster. And I'm not saying you don't have these meetings. You can lay the foundation for some stuff, but until the coach and management knows exactly what the changes are, because there will be changes personnel wise, it's sort of hard to fully flesh it all out, right?
And that's a great point. And here's the other problem from Bruce and the Canucks is that usually in a normal year, July 1st, you got your draft in June, and by the end of the first week of July, your top six forwards, your top 4D, and those are the important guys. But you can always pick up bottom six or a third pair players later on in the summer. But by the end of the first week of July, you got a pretty good idea what your roster is in the old days. But this year, the draft is later. UFA status, I think July 13th, if you guys can help me correctly. So we're going to be late into July before, let's say the Canucks make a big trade or they go out and get a big UFA. It's going to be late July before Bruce and the Canucks kind of know what this team's going to look like. And, that's going to be a whole lot different than the first week of July. Now you're looking at the third or fourth week of July. So you're right, Blake. They won't know the roster till a little bit later than years past.
What do you think the approach will be about draft picks over the next couple of years? This is a team that needs more prospects in the cupboard, certainly.
Oh, boy, do they ever.
But they also want to rid themselves of contracts. And, the sugar may need to be added to some of these deals in order to do that. Do you think they'd be prepared to go down that road, knowing that they would lose the ability to stock the cupboards a little bit?
Well, here's the thing. No first round or second rounder in 2020. So your first pick is in the third round, defenseman Yoni Yermo. You don't know how long he's going to take. No first rounder last year. In fact, nothing in the third or fourth round as well. It's hard to stock the cupboards with so many first and second rounders missing from the last 2 years. Getting a second rounder this year will be high on the Canucks list, a to-do list. Let's be honest. You can't have 3 drafts in a row where you're missing first and second rounders. There's 32 teams in this league, guys. Your second rounders are high currency. You got to have some of these second rounders. They got to hit because the odds of making it for players in rounds 3, 4, 5 considerably go down. The 219 draft for me was really good. Podkolzin, Hoglander, Arturs, Silovs, McDonough, he should sign next year. Carol Plastic. That draft was good. But I'm really concerned about 2020 and 2021. After Klimovich, the difference makers. Boy, there's not many. I'm worried about the last 2 drafts. That's why I think the Canucks are going to try really hard to get a second rounder this year. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep going into drafts with 32 teams and not having a first or second rounder. It's not good.
Yeah. Who gets them a second-round pick? Is that a Tyler Myers deal?
Well, hold it a second. No, you could always go down. You could always, as Thomas Strantz told me this week on the show, you could trade down and say, okay, hey, we'll take the 19th or 20th pick, and you throw in a second rounder or something like that. But you know what? I fully expect them. Look, when this new regime took over, they looked at the cupboards. They're pretty intelligent people. There wasn't, after Rathbone and Klimovich, there's not much on the farm. There's not much in the cupboards, and just simply because the last two drafts and not a lot of first and second rounders in there. So hey, if they give it a good try to get a second rounder, it would surprise nobody this year.
Have you heard anything from these meetings that they've been going on between Alvin and Boudreau, and then yesterday with Rutherford joining the group?
No. I talked to both Rutherford and Boudreau in the last week, and this is the time to have meetings, Matt. This is the time to get your pro scouts together. I mean, these meetings are no big deal. This is what all teams that don't make the playoffs do: is they get together and they plan and they get ready for next year. There's nothing, really out of the ordinary when these meetings are taking place. Pro scouts, look, they've got to hire scouts now, right? Because they got to hire a training staff. They let 5 go in that department. So they got a lot to do on their to-do list, and these meetings are just a part of it. And pro scouts are out there watching these playoff games right now, guys. When I look, the one comment that Rutherford said last week that really caught my attention was the sandpaper. We don't have enough sandpaper. Teams like Minnesota and St. Louis are really big in the West, and we gotta plan accordingly. 8 years, and Benning could not build a heavy-set big team. Among the many things he left this new regime looking for is size and grit. I mean, not every team's got a Tom Wilson. Let's be honest. But you know what? Every team would love a Tom Wilson. Benning tried with Gabranson, Beagle, Roussel, Ferland. It just didn't work out. So when I talk about these pro scouts, they're out looking there for size and grit. There's no better time for a pro scout to look for size and grit than in the playoffs, because you don't advance very far without it. And if the Canucks are going to go looking for more grit on the free agent market this summer, you know what? I'm looking at guys like Andrew Kopp, Ilya Mikheyev, and also Nick Paul. If these guys become available, those are the type of guys I think that could help the Canucks in their top 9.
Size helps. Like you look at Colorado, like obviously Rantanen and even like a Nichushkin, tough to push off the puck is worthwhile to me as a pest. Like I think people are getting caught up on sandpaper and thinking that means pest. To me, it doesn't. To me, it just means strong.
Strong. Puck battle. Stay on your feet. Go to the dangerous ice. Go to the dangerous areas of the ice. Stand in front of the net. All that stuff. That's what it means, Blake. It's not meaning going out and getting a goon or a fourth liner that just fights. No. This is skill and will in your top 9 is what all teams are looking for. And this is what, and I brought this up with Matt before the interview here. What about Evander Kane? Like, I'm sitting here looking, okay, look, can the Oilers re-sign him? Do they have the cap space? Will they have to move someone to get him signed, Evander Kane? Is Vancouver a fit? The agent called Vancouver when Kane was available, but Rutherford had just gotten to Vancouver, and signing Kane at the time was considered, a controversial move by many. And then all of a sudden, he's been great in the regular season. He's been great in the playoffs. He's going to get a healthy raise on his $2 million, guys. Is he up to $4, $5, $6 million? I don't know. But he's got the size, the skill, the skating, and the grit that every team loves in the top 6. And, I've had a few people say to me, what about Evander Kane? And that's going to be, if he hits the free agent market, he's a Vancouver boy. I wonder if the Canucks will show interest.
No, we've wondered the same thing here, particularly if you're comfortable with everything off the ice. Ricky, we know you're not in session on Donnie and Dolly today. Appreciate you making some time for us here. And your regularly scheduled hit. Enjoy the weekend, buddy, and we'll catch up next Friday.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Rick Dhaliwal, everybody, one half of the team, Donnie and Dolly, weekdays, check television.